So this is an actual proper morning lift. This is what I want to see. I'm talking wake up at 6. I'm talking play on my phone for 20 minutes before getting out of bed, get my clothes together, get a little bit of food in my system, pre-workout meal for this arm day, which I suspect is going to be one of my freakiest arm pumps ever, and it's a strong suspicion. That's not like a that's not a Dokes suspicion where it's like you know but you don't really know. This is like a Sherlock Holmes suspicion. I already know I'm going to be pumped. I'm just saying that to be nice. Like, you know, we'll see what happens. But it was 4 plain, lightly salted rice cakes, 28 grams of carbs total. A good chunk of just a bunch of 0-calorie, like, electrolyte packs. So about 1.5 liters of water worth, which I should really just be doing in the morning no matter what. So, like, my morning routine, ideally, is going to look something like having a 1 liter bottle of water minimum of electrolytes, sugar-free, next to my bed. As soon as I wake up and weigh myself on the scale, just slam the whole thing just to get a head start. Because you just went all night without drinking. So the process of your body turning like regular floating around water into, well, you know, number one, and then you go freaking basically just pour out a bunch of water from your system. And then you're breathing and your lungs are moist, so the air that you breathe out is slightly wet. You're actually losing a little bit of fluids just from like, I guess it's the opposite of condensation, evaporation, you know? So just something to think about. As soon as I wake up, I'm in a semi-dehydrated state. Slam some fluids. Shit, let me see. Oh wait, I got it right here. Yeah, the craziest thing about CarPlay is I can put the macro tracker on the phone or on the screen. I can't see right. Sometimes it doesn't instantly connect. But yeah, and then so 28 grams of carbs worth of those rice cakes. Somehow 30 more grams of carbs worth of a couple of vitamin C gummies that were in the kitchen. How'd that happen? So nothing magic about that. There is no benefit specifically of like, oh, Sam took vitamin C gummies before his arm day. Oh man, I wonder if that's the trick. Not exactly. They were just there, and I don't mind having a little bit of extra carbs pre-workout so I can actually have something to run off of. I've been letting myself basically come into the gym and do a fasted workout sometimes, and depending on the lift, I don't mind it. Like if it's a lightish arm day, or not lightish, but if it's a dieted arm day like now, and then yesterday maybe I ate a little extra food, I had like not a full-on refeed, but just a little more food than kind of the average intake has been, well then I'm cool if I just go straight into it. I'm already residually carved up from the day before. But yesterday was actually a little bit of a low day. I only had 2,200 calories. Not intentionally. I could have had an extra 300, but it was already about time to go to bed, and I felt fine at 2,200, so I didn't mind banking an extra 300 calories of a deficit. So I definitely wanted to have something to run off of, because I'm doing my workout and I'm doing 45 minutes of cardio directly afterward. You know, so it's not just lift and then come home. I got a couple things to do in between. But no, this is going to be a badass arm day. So I think, what do I think? We'll see. You know, I got to see how I feel, loosen up a little bit, but not going to be super heavy. And really, there's just kind of no benefit. So what I mean by that is I'm judging like how I do these sets and like, okay, am I going to do it this way, or whatever, not purely just based off of theoretical, like, okay, theoretically I should do some light squeezing work, I should do some heavy, lower volume, like high intensity failure work. Like, what I'm basing it off of is, okay, what kind of sets right now feel the best? And that's after I've, worked out for years at this point. I think I have a decent gist of what feels good for me. Like, I know the feeling of doing a set, and I can say, ooh, yeah, things are clicking here. Nice. And usually that just kind of entails, like, what feels like I'm getting a really good contraction, and on a beginning of the set to end of the set basis, do I feel like I've progressed the lift? Do I feel like I'm more pumped? I'm properly more fatigued, if you sort of feel what I'm saying. Because I could just sit here and do 100 sets of pushdowns, but the 100th set would not feel very good. The 50th set wouldn't feel very good. The 20th set probably just feels like I'm going through the motions of just moving weight. But around that, you know, maybe 6, 8-ish rep or 8-ish set mark, I still feel like I'm actually getting progressive work done or productive work done. I don't want to just come in here and feel like I'm, you know, spinning my gears for no reason, if you sort of, if you get the gist there. So that's kind of why sometimes I might do a movement and say, all right, let's do some overhead easy bar extensions. The one where like I kind of put my butt up against the upright, flip myself over, and I'm pressing like this. If I do one set and I just don't really feel it, like it's not giving me that contraction and that like just productive feeling, well then I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna say that movement didn't really click for me right now. I'm doing something else. Let's do a rope extension. Let's do a single arm underhand. Let's do maybe a pullover roundabout push down, you know, just anything like that. So that's definitely something you'll get a feel for the longer you train. So, you know, if you're year one and you're telling me, or not, you're not telling me, but you're thinking like, well, I don't really have that feeling. Like I'm not really differentiating if a set feels that much better or that much worse than any other. Well, don't sweat it. You know, I don't think I felt like that for fucking probably years. I just did whatever. Not whatever, but like when I started working out, all I was doing was a ton of, just a ton of volume. Like I'm talking doing 5 sets of a dumbbell curl, 5 sets of an easy bar curl, 5 sets of a preacher curl, 5 sets of this curl. Just give me 5 sets of everything. You know, I was doing way too much volume, just because in my mind, more volume meant more stimulus and more gains. That was my rule in my head. Whereas now I know, you know, I'm kind of aiming for like just an activation, right? If you're trying to start a freaking campfire, it doesn't matter how many times you rub these sticks together, nothing really gets done until you reach fucking combustion. So that's kind of following the Dorian Yates analogy of like, if you hit a stick of dynamite with a pencil 1,000,000 times, it's not going to go off. But if you hit it with a hammer, right, if you somehow hit it hard enough, then you give it the stimulus it needs to actually, you know, freaking go. So obviously, you know, that's not an exact one-to-one, but the logic seems to apply. You know, I think that makes sense. So that's another angle to think about, is you don't need to have a perfect explanation of why you're doing everything it is in your training. Like nobody is ever going to come up to you and say, hey, explain to me why you're doing that movement right now. Can you cite your sources? Actually, people might say that now, which is kind of stupid. But for the most part, they're not going to say that. So for me, I feel like it's very important to at least have a decent understanding, or at least my own understanding of why am I doing this stuff. When I come in here and I warm up and I do some push downs and I'm doing a set where it's light squeezing, for me to think, okay, I'm doing this because I get a really good burn. I can feel I'm getting more and more pumped every rep. All right, I like how this feels, we're good. I stand behind my training in the moment. If you come into the gym and you're just so like, oh, I don't even know if I should be doing this, I don't know, like, do I do the rope or do I do the push down? That uncertainty, I think, will bleed into the workout and probably not ruin it, but at least affect the quality of the pump in general, you know? So even if you don't know exactly and this, you know, this is like very easily a critiquable take, but even if you don't have an exact 100% explanation of why you're doing something in the gym, as long as your effort is there and you can feel that effort that you're putting in is having a positive feedback in your day, in your just overall training and your progress, you know, don't forget, if it works, it works, right? So even if you're the big ass, or if we're thinking about the big ass dude where his training's the most unscientific thing ever, he just comes in, he goes crazy, and then he leaves. Sure, someone who's kind of a training science elitist might look at that and think, well, that's the most inefficient curl I've ever seen in my freaking life. But at the end of the day, What if the dude's big and strong, his training is working? You know, where's the value of the critique, right? It's like you're looking at somebody driving a McLaren and thinking, well, he should have got a Bugatti. You know, he should have got a ZL1 or something. McLaren's so overrated. Like, you know, it just seems so silly. But yeah, I think no more talking. Let's how about we stop freaking jabbering on and make this freaking morning lift happen. All right, let's not get too crazy here and just start with a basic ass freaking curl. So I kind of have a habit of doing a ton of like dumbbells first, easy bar. Honestly, dumbbells and easy bar. It's very rare that you catch me doing like a rope based curl. So that's kind of the point of me doing it now, is just because I haven't really done it that much, if you kind of feel me. So it's like, if you can tell a movement's been a little bit dusty, like it's kind of just left on a shelf, you haven't touched it for a while, might be worth throwing in. Might be friggin' worth throwing in. But let's see how we're looking. Only 130, so this is still like squeezing set territory. Okay. Whew. A few more of those. Yeah, I haven't had a hammer curl for a while. That actually feels really freaking good. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think I don't know. I was planning on doing like a 3 theme. So 3 curls, and then 3 curls with 3 pushdowns, and then 3 curls again. That might be good. I don't know. Let me think about it. Okay, one more, and then I'll decide how I want the rest of this lift to go. These curls just feel too good to stop doing. Okay. All right. Nah. Let's just do like 2 or 3 more of these, and then just do all buys, then all tries. Let's keep it simple. Okay. Whew. 2 more of these. Yeah, I don't know why, but this is like the exact perfect curl for today. There's no need to do anything else. I'll just make this one nasty from the get-go. Slightly heavier. Okay. All right. I lied. I think just that one is good. Now let's do some rope pushdowns. So I don't even have to. All I have to do is move the cable up. I don't even have to move machines. Same weight, same freaking everything. And this is going to be squeezing, burning, not so nasty. At least not yet. Okay. All right, there's a strong possibility this whole arm day is just right here with the cable. We'll see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is going to be it. So sorry if it's a little bit repetitive, but a few more of that. Okay. Holy crap. Yeah. I might just do 2 more and that'll be it. Yeah, I mean, shit, this freaking feels sweet. Yeah, one more, then we're ready to pose down. Here's the plan, a back and forth of push downs and rope curls, lighter than even before. So this is only 110 pounds. I was just doing 150 for the rope. So the point here isn't necessarily like insane heft effort. I mean, the effort's still there, of course, but it's more just rapid contraction, stretch, then back and forth to buys. I can tell I got a little room for some more blood. So by the time I gone back and forth like 3 times-ish, we should definitely be ready to see something in the mirror. Let's see how we're looking. Let me find a good lighting spot. All right, I had this thing set to like auto track for the first few of those sets, but it's kind of janky. I don't know. Was this kind of cool that the camera was moving a little bit? Or was it like, just what's the point? Just do a still shot. I don't know. I'll have to see when I edit this together. Because it's cool to use a gimbal, like it's fun, but if it doesn't look any better, then it's like, what the hell am I doing? But now let's really see how we're looking. Yeah, so arms, holy shit. This is not at all what 230 pounds normally feels like for me. Like, sure, I had fucking, 60 grams of carbs, 30 of them coming from like some gummies this morning, but this does not feel like a 60 gram of carb pump. Holy shoot. Oh yeah, let's just run through a few here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, well, that is freaking cool for me to see. That's for sure. Like, not even doing a pose, just what I would call standing pretty much relaxed right now. Like, I feel like my arms are hanging off my shoulders, which obviously they always are. That's just how it works. But like, this added thickness is rather freaking crazy. And I'm like this feels like a fully bulked pump. I had like 250 grams of carbs yesterday total, only 2,200 calories, and this is still like the grain and just freaking, but just fullness that I'm feeling is like freaking nuts. Oh man, yeah. Well, we're cooking with gas now. That is for freaking sure. Let me get one more most muscular, and then we can roll. Oh, that's crazy. But all right, let's pack this stuff up. I'm going to go to my cardio, and then I'll see you in the car for afterwards. All right, there we go. Cardio has not been done yet, but I already got the camera set up, so how about we just get a little pre-cardio, post-arm day chat. And yeah, that was, I don't know what the heck was going on today. Things were just clicking. So rope only, push downs, curls, nothing fancy, nothing. But that was like, that was crazy. That was obviously I'm going to always be like, oh, I love that. I'm pumped, yippee. But that was a really good one. Holy moly. That kind of set the bar. So I've brought this up a few times, especially earlier in my kind of, I don't want to say lifting career in the beginning, because it wasn't a career, but let's say early in my lifting journey, I would often have a couple, and by often I mean every few months, have a little bit of like this feeling of an awakening. Nothing like super crazy, but where I'm in the gym and I just have like maybe a slightly scrappy lift, and I'm in my head, I'm like, what am I doing right now? Like, I can go harder than this. I can go way harder than this. Why am I not killing it? Or, and that's in the case if I had a workout that was maybe a little scrappy, a little something. Or I have a workout where I go so hard and things just click and everything feels really good that I say, like, whoa, why haven't all my workouts been like this? Why can't they all be like this? This is what I really want. I want it to be like this every time. So my takeaway from that is putting a lot of value and effort and emphasis on the prep side of things, on the stuff that happens outside of the gym that results in that in the gym performance. You know, when it comes to the whole lifting sort of thing, it's not about like a competition. You know, like if you're practicing a sport, you're practicing to then go compete, see where you kind of stand, like to perform like that. But the gym, I think, is very interesting. Obviously, I am a competitor, bodybuilder, of course, but it's more so a day-by-day competition. It's more of a marathon in terms of making legit progress, because there is no one day where you just suddenly do it. There is no clutch moment of working out. You can't just lock in for one day and somehow get in the zone and then you take it home. It's a day-by-day kind of just relative to like a one-day performance. You know, sometimes people say the word grind a little bit too much, but it kind of is, man. You know, it's just showing up every time and waiting. Because if you do that, well, then it's not going to feel like you have to wait that long, because these results are going to start to make themselves very apparent pretty freaking soon, you know. But you've got to actually be able to kind of wait it out a little bit, you know. You're watering and you're fertilizing this plant, and it hasn't sprouted. It's going to take a little while before you actually notice, you know. But that's where I like the idea of where guys are going to say, like, when was the best time to plant a tree? And they're going to say, well, like 50 years ago was the best time, because then it'd be grown by now. When's the second best time? Okay, right freaking now. So that's, I kind of always want to have that mindset. I was saying this yesterday on the way home, or maybe on the way to the gym, I don't really remember. But I was saying, you've got like a few versions of yourself at all times that you're sort of, you know, curating your goals towards. You've got your current self, which your current self likes to relax, your current self likes to feel comfortable, your current self likes to chill. But your future self would want you currently, which is you now presently, to say, or not to say, but to actually make some crazy shit happen. You know, like hindsight is 2020. You're always going to look back and think, oh man, I should have done this, 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 and this. So if you can have a little bit of foresight and think, oh yeah, in a while I probably do wish that I would have done this, 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 and this. Well, if I start now, then I'll be in that situation later. You know, it's like you've got a final exam. You can either try to cram the night before and then you're freaking just stressed out to all hell and you're like, oh. Or you study gradually, on time, on schedule. You wake up test day, you're not nervous, you're confident. You're not nervous, you're ready, you know, because you did all the prep work before. So that's how I feel about the gym. If I know I got a good night's rest, I was super well hydrated, I'm just in a good headspace, that comes a little more with like your personal life, trying to keep things not under wraps, but just under like decent, consistent control. You know, some people I find are very erratic. They're just always chasing, like, okay, you know, let's go do this, 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 and this, let's all just, and it's like there's just no structure to their days sometimes, you know. So that's just a personal kind of thing. Like my days are very structured, very oriented towards like what my goals are, and it gives me this just comfort knowing I'm gonna get my shit done today, you know. And in between, I've got some chill time. There's some chill time for Sam where I'm just playing on my phone or looking down, like just chilling, watching shows or whatever. But it's kind of balanced with like I am doing the things that I want to get done, and not just in the moment, but for future Sam too. You know, all these workouts, all these everything, it's not just for me right now, currently. In a way it is, because I like working out and I like the whole process of doing it, so it's fun for me now too. But it's also really fun for me in the future, because I know I'm going to be able to look back and think, hell yeah, hell freaking yeah, I did it, you know. So it's like, how often is someone going to look back and go, man, I just said this a couple days ago, and then somebody posted their transformation over the course of a year, and it's what I said was basically like, how many people are going to lock in, seriously make a change to their build, and either lose a bunch of body fat or just get peeled or bigger or whatever. It's not often that people do that and then think, man, I wish I didn't do any of that. Man, I wish instead of spending all that time being semi-productive, I wish I just wasted it and just goofed off the whole time. It just doesn't happen. So it's not like you have to be a Hormozy 24/7, like, on the clock kind of whatever. But, at least make sure you get a decent quota of working at the things that you want to do. And it shouldn't even feel like work, because if you want to do them, then it's not work. It's just an activity that you want to get done, So that's my thought process there. I'm repeating myself from yesterday, but I think that's just because I like the idea. Try to think about you in the future and try to make sure that whatever you're doing currently matches where you want future you to be. And I know that's not a groundbreaking thought or anything, but it is something that I feel like I don't hear people talk about as much. Like when we think of goal setting, it's always like, yeah, man, once you reach this goal, you're going to feel so good. Everything's going to be perfect and awesome. Whereas more so, I think it's kind of this aiming for just improving. Like the chase is the fun part. The actual, like, everyday, progressing, that's the part that's really fulfilling. If everybody could just do a freaking magic genie and then everyone in the whole world is a Bumstead, Ronnie Coleman, peeled, diced, whoever, well, then it wouldn't be valuable, because then it would just, it wouldn't take any time to get. So just keep that in mind a little bit. Just a teensy little freaking bit. But I'm going to get my cardio done. I wore different shoes, so I don't think my feet are going to get so sore on the treadmill. Gonna clock my 45, go home, eat a bunch of cubed steak that's already ready in the fridge waiting for me, and then a post-workout nap with the cats. That might be good. Might is actually an understatement. So I'll see you for whatever goes down tomorrow. I think a rest day may be in order, but I don't know. I can never predict them. I can only take them in the moment when I can feel they're actually necessary. But that's all I got. So day 40... I gotta look at the upload schedule. Day 40 something. All right, we're still in the 40s. There's still some time to make some improvements, that's for sure. But I'll see you tomorrow.